Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC and today I will be reviewing the Ride Superpig. If you're interested in the Superpig, you can go ahead and click those affiliate links down below and that way you don't have to go searching for a reputable dealer yourself. This board is equipped with Ride's directional extra camber profile, so what that means is you're going to have a rocker section right outside the inserts here all the way through the nose and camber from the inserts all the way through the tail. So what that's going to do is that rocker section is going to give you float and ease in and out of turns, and that camber is going to give you all of that precision, pop, and power that you're looking for. The Superpig comes in a 148, 151, 154, and a 158 for the big dogs. I rode this board at Copper Mountain where it was a warm, sunny day, but don't let that fool you. The snow was very firm where there were perfect groomers and then there were perfect push piles, I guess you could say, because all of the skiers decided to ski in the same exact spot and create just shitty push piles everywhere. But they did leave all the edges for us, so we did have perfect groomers towards the edges of the runs and you could really lay down some turns there. It never really softened up throughout the day, so it was what it was, and it was still a fun day, I would say, where I used my Ride Fuse boots and my Jones Mercury Phase bindings. When we're talking overall flex on the Superpig, it is definitely stiffer than the middle of the road, but I will say it does have a directional flex to it. Because of that large rocker section in the nose, it makes the nose quite a bit softer than the middle and the tail of this board. So you do kind of feel that, especially when you're pressing. You can really lock in the presses super easy on the nose here. On the tail, you have a slightly shorter sweet spot where pretty much right at that contact point where the board is the widest is going to be where it wants to hold that press. Now when we move over to the stability portion, it is a stable and damp board, especially because it's shorter and wider. It makes it to be very stable, especially at those medium speeds. When you do get it to the higher speeds when it comes to stability, as long as it's on a smooth groomer, you're gonna be totally fine. It's when you get into those big soft push pile sections, especially on my heel edge, I felt the nose trying to buckle on me, where I had to keep that in mind. As I was going over the chundery icy push pile sections, it just pushed right through it. So I didn't have to worry about that at all. It's just when I got into those giant soft moguli fields that I really had to worry about it. But overall, it is nice and damp because of that urethane running throughout the board. It creates very little vibrations coming up. You will notice the nose chattering a little bit, but it doesn't resonate all the way to the front foot there, so you don't have to worry about that. If you thought the regular Warpig is lacking in the ollie department, you might want to look at this board then. Because of that carbon 5 that runs underneath your foot all the way through the tail, it gives it a really good pop where you can load this thing up without a lot of energy into it and it will return that to you. So you don't have to sit there and really flex into this thing to get everything out of it. You could still ollie this like a skateboard and it'll do everything for you. And when you're landing an ollie, it feels really stable, especially because it is so wide, it doesn't feel twitchy or anything like that. So when you do land flat base, you can just keep going instead of having to get right on edge right away and really just kind of worry about that. It feels nice and smooth. Even with that shorter tail, if you do land backseat on it, it will bring you right back where if you land a little bit farther backseat on the regular Warpig, you might wash out. This has just got a little bit more landing gear there. While I have you here, you might as well like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our scheduled programming. When we're buttering this board, it definitely feels different from the nose to the tail. As I mentioned before, you do have that long rocker section in the nose, so when you do go to nose butter on this thing or 180 into it, you have that huge section to work with, that giant sweet spot that makes it nice and easy. You will feel a little spring on that nose press out, so just be prepared for that. When you are pressing on the tail or buttering on the tail, you do have that shorter section, as I've mentioned before. Just expect a little bit more force behind it and a little bit more resistance. That being said, when you do finally go to exit that, you will get a nice return pop there. So overall, it definitely has that directional flex where this is super easy to butter on. This one, it's gonna take you a little bit, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. This board carves extremely well. It'll handle those short, quick carves, those medium carves, even those long carves. The one thing I will say about those little short carves is if you have a tiny foot on here, it's gonna be kind of a pain to get this thing over. Because it is wider underneath your foot, you're not gonna have as much leverage to it. So just keep that in mind. If you got that little baby foot, might not be for you. But if you're just like the rest of us, have a normal size foot, it'll get over for you, no problem there. When you get to those medium and larger carves, you'll feel that camber really engage, really decambering the board and springing you in and out of those turns with ease. As you get to that larger carve, I will say, if you're on a smooth groomer, open her up, keep that thing full throttle, you have zero problems there. If there's large, mogully, wet, soft push piles in the way, just keep in mind that nose might want to buck on you there. But really, as long as you're just paying attention to what you're doing, you should have zero problems there. And yes, it will Euro carve, no problem. Even if you do have a bigger boot, you're not gonna get that toe or heel drag there. So feel free to lay this thing over, press that pickle, drag some ass, whatever you wanna call it. It will take care of that Euro carve for you. Rider in mind. This board is made for that person that really wants like one board to do everything. They probably come from a skateboard background and they just need a little bit more underneath their foot. They could also have a bigger foot and just a disproportionate body, so that would definitely work for them as well, but they're gonna take this board anywhere and pretty much do everything on it. That one quiver killer. If you're looking for another way to get involved in the Angry Snowboarder community, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. Sure, I could explain it here, but we have a great video over there getting into it really in depth. I think this board is better in every way than the Warpig is. I mean, unless you just want to have something soft and playful, but as a daily driver for me, this would be the one. I'm not 100% sure why they have this and the Psycho Candy in roughly the same sizes, but you know, to each their own. I think there's a lot of overlap there, but overall, a great board that will pretty much get you through anything you need. And I mean, it's fun. You can still play around on it. It's not the most crazy aggressive board out there, so don't let the Super and Superpig scare you away. It's not that super. Comparable boards, the K2 Excavator, the Jones Stormwolf, and the Gnu Gremlin. Recommended bindings, the Ride C8, the K2 Program, and the Rome Katana. As always guys, I've been your host TC and this has been my review of the Ride Superpig. If this sounds like the board for you but you're just unsure about bindings, why don't you go check out one of the videos for those recommended bindings.